alive! Welcome everybody to a Backlash prediction episode of Too Sweet Converse. I am Nico. What's up? I'm feeling good. It is Tuesday as we are recording this. What's up, everybody?
Hey everyone, Steve-O here.
Yo, what's up, everybody? EJV here once again, rocking your official Matt Hardy All Elite Wrestling T-shirt, which you can get at shopaew.com.
I got my AEW logo shirt representing as well. Although we're talking WWE here.
Also check out Tom's Island on podcast. Okay, take two.
Oh yeah, and also because of scheduling conflicts, for this predictions video, as well as most likely episode 8 of Too Sweet Converse, we will be doing separate segments as we go due to scheduling conflicts. However, wild cards predictions will be made at the end of this very video. So starting off, we will be doing our predictions as we go. Our first match was just made official last night on Monday Night Raw. The number one contenders match happens with Andrade as well as Kevin Owens and Angel Garza for the number one contendership. And Andrade happened to have won that match, so he's going to be taking on Apollo Crews for the United States Championship starting off the show. So I want to get your guys' thoughts to see who you think will win, or if it's just going to be kind of like a filler match.
I think it'll be a filler match, but the reasoning for Andrade to win the match, he had a nice run with the U.S. title. Didn't really do much with it, and that's not Andrade's fault at all. He's a talented wrestler, great worker, probably one of the best underutilized workers WWE has going right now. And everybody's happy backstage, and most of the fans are, from what I can tell, that Apollo, is the current U.S. champion. So I don't see a reason for them to take the belt off of him right now. But with WWE, who knows? They always do weird, wonky booking. But I'm gonna go with Apollo Crews. Or wait, is he just Apollo now? Did they change his name?
No, I think it went back to Apollo Crews.
Okay, see, I'm just trying to make sure I have this right. Well, yeah, then I'll go with Apollo Crews.
All right, EJV, who's your pick for this match?
First of all, I think despite the match being filler, which it is, unfortunately, it's a filler match for the beginning of the show. I feel like it's still going to be a hell of a match. You got two great athletes, Apollo Crews and Andrade. Andrade, of course, the dude can go any wrestler on the planet, and he can outshine almost every one of them. He's just a pure athlete of himself, can fly around the ring, technical as hell. Apollo Crews, we know Apollo's story and how long he's been with WWE. It is cool to see him with a title. As far as my prediction for this match, I'm going to go with Apollo Crews only because I feel like WWE's giving him the ball with this one, and I don't think they're going to pull the trigger on him this soon. I think this time, they're really going to let Apollo shine with this belt, even though the United States title really hasn't had any significant meaning in a long, long time. It kind of is just a filler title in a sense to fill up time on a pay-per-view schedule or on a pay-per-view show. So I'm going to go with Apollo Crews to be victorious over Andrade and retain his belt.
Very nice. I'm going to agree with the two of you as well. Apollo Crews will retain the title. I'm very happy he did win the title. He's always been a very good worker and everything. And his promo last night was decent. I think that, with a little more mic work, he can, kind of establish himself as something. He also got new music. Didn't you guys hear that yesterday?
Yeah, you know what? I thought of that. I was like, wait, is that music new? But I didn't really tweet about it because I didn't really care. But I was like, is it new? Is it not? Maybe they had it last week and I missed it but I just wasn't sure. But if they did give him new music, I don't think it's worse or better than the original music he had. But good for him. because usually when they give a wrestler new music, this really means that, hey, whether the music is good or not, this really means that, hey, they are investing time in this particular talent.
Mm-hmm.
So good for Cruz.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was cool. There's not a whole lot else to add. The only way, and I'm going to talk about this more in episode 8 on a topic, which I'll elaborate more, so you'll have to go check it out if you haven't already. Is there's only one way I see Andrade winning, and if it just alludes to something, but I'll save that for episode 8. In short, though, I just think overall Apollo Crews will retain the U.S. champion and go forward from there. Now,
I hear your idea in your head, and I'll tell you this more when we get into the podcast episode. I don't think they're gonna go that route, but we'll talk about it later.
all right. So yeah, make sure to check out episode 8 as well.
Yeah, link to episode 8 will be in the description of this video.
Yep. So for our next match, it's kind of a continuation of a topic we discussed on episode 7 of Too Sweet Converse. It's going to be Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus in a one-on-one bout. So let's hear your guys' thoughts on if you have any excitement for this match, and if you think that who will come out the victor about. Who would like to take this one?
See, I don't. I'll just go here because I'll be totally quick. See, I don't know because like in my head it says you want Jeff Hardy to win just to move on to the next hurdle in whatever they are doing with him. But then my head also tells me that Jeff Hardy should lose to see if this downward spiral or whatever the hell they're doing it is meaningful in the storyline. Obviously, I think WWE got scared with what they did, with how they kind of did an audible last week, with what they did 2 weeks ago with Jeff relapse. I think they got scared because of the negative backlash from a lot of people. When you have a demographic of professional wrestling fans, at times, myself included, saying, oh, we want realism, we want stories that are real, we want the Attitude Era back, we want attitude. And then when you get it, everyone hits the panic button, everybody loses their mind. Granted, like I said last week, I don't think they should have done it with Jeff. I was excited to see what they were going to do with it, but in all honesty, I think they hit an audible. I think they called an audible and they're just gonna do something else. My heart says Jeff if he wins it, cool. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sheamus somehow wins this match either.
All right, EJB, your thoughts.
I'm gonna be real quick and simple with this. I think Sheamus is gonna win it, and here's the reason why. Like Nico said, if you really want to build this storyline and continue Jeff's downward spiral, you'd have him lose. Kind of in a similar way his brother did when he went down the path to being broken. Maybe Jeff goes in a similar manner. I'm not saying a carbon copy or anything, but I'm saying maybe this leads to where he maybe goes down this little bit of a dark road to get himself to that redemption, to get himself to the payoff at the end of the story. Okay. Am I emotionally vested in it? That's a good question. I kind of am. At first, the story, I was a little bit confused on why they would do this. Like, I wasn't pissed off or upset about it. I was just kind of conflicted on why they would do a storyline based on his substance abuse. I said that in the previous episode. But really, like Nico said, they really haven't mentioned it too much this week in a sense where they've really gone over it. And really, it's kind of a little bit conflicting on whether they're going to continue with the story fully or whether they're just going to, like, slowly weed it off like it never happened. But I'm going to go with Sheamus on this one only because I feel like if they're going to have Jeff do a redemption story type of deal, this is the way it's going to have to be.
Okay, E, I like your idea, but why is Sheamus the guy?
To me, that's a really good question. I don't know why they picked Sheamus to be in that role, or unless he's just a pawn in a sense and somebody else is pulling the strings on it. I don't know. That's something, we're a little bit early in the process of the storyline. So who knows?
Because I see where you're going with it, But like in my head, if I had the book, I would have
If you had the pencil,
yeah, book, pencil, whatever. I would have gone with a guy similar, not just stature wise of Jeff Hardy, but maybe even style wise. Uh, a guy like Mustafa Ali, maybe have him be a heel. It would surprise everybody. Um, but it could kind of give you that factor because they do have a similar in-ring style. If you want someone who's more dependable, maybe you go with a guy like AJ Styles to be the one who's behind all of this. Um, but for it to be Sheamus, not that I don't have a problem with it being Sheamus. Okay, cool, whatever. Sheamus is a good worker, but it's just weird to me that he's the guy.
Yeah. So I'll kind of elaborate about this. I'm kind of confused on who to pick. My early take for now, I guess, will be that, the feud is going to continue. Here's what you guys were talking about. Here's my take personally on why they chose Sheamus. I mean, they both him and Jeff returned relatively at the same time. And, both are former world champions and have had a good amount of accolades, even as tag teams. Sheamus being in the Bar, obviously Jeff Hardy, part of the Hardy Boys. They have some similar backgrounds. I mean, obviously their in-ring styles are not similar whatsoever, but I could see them having a good match. Now, where to rate my excitement on this match overall? I'm 50-50 about it. I would say I'm more excited about this than the Universal Championship for sure. The start of the whole Jeff being, relapsed allegedly, I was invested in it. I was like, well, this is kind of weird they're doing that. But then last week, I rewatched the promo. I don't know. It wasn't too exciting. I mean, yeah, I think most of us knew that Sheamus was going to be behind Jeff having that whole ordeal upon him. So I really don't know who I'd want to be the victor of this feud. I think in the end, Jeff will be the winner of the feud, but I see whatever the pay-per-view next month is, I think it's Extreme Rules. I think that Jeff will win there, but for now, Sheamus is going to win the match at Backlash. That's just my take. That's really all I can think for now. It's still fairly early in the feud, I suppose. Now, that being said, we're going to get on to the next match. It's a triple threat women's tag team championship bout with new champions Bayley and Sasha from last week's SmackDown taking on the former champions of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, as well as the Iconics, Peyton Royce and Billie Kay. Who would like to start off with their thoughts of this match? EJV, go ahead, my man.
This match originally, when I heard it's gonna be another women's tag team match, because I was a little bit excited only because we haven't seen those titles have been defended on a big show like this in a little bit with this much meaning, and with the three teams in here, I think it just adds an extra dynamic. And I saw the exchanges, especially the first exchange between Sasha and Peyton Royce during their match the other night. I think it was last night on Raw. It was awesome. It was great. Their little exchange with the kicks and the roll-ups. I thought it was great. Chain wrestling, great technical wrestling overall. They did great, and I think this match overall is gonna be great. You got three really good teams. You got two best friends, Bayley, Sasha. You got the Iconics, and then of course the former champs, Bliss and Nikki Cross, who are entitled to their rematch. I'm gonna go with the obvious choice to go with Bayley and Sasha to retain. I don't see him dropping the titles for a while. I know the Iconics are basically on a rebuild here to get back to those titles. I don't think it's going to be time for them to pull the trigger on that yet. And Bliss and Nikki had a great rate as champs. I just don't feel like they're going to put it back on them just yet. So I'm going to go with Bayley and Sasha for the win.
All right, Nico Broski, what's your picks?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Iconics. The reason why, actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna stick with the Iconics, but I'm gonna say but. There's gonna be a but behind it because, you guys remember that hacker, whatever, I know he's usually a SmackDown
Yeah,
gimmick.
the hacker.
Yeah, yeah,
Most people thinking Ali, but to be
yeah.
determined, I guess.
Yeah, some people thinking Ali, some people thinking CM Punk. Trust me, it is not CM Punk. You can take that exclusive for what you will. It's not him. All right, I can tell you that much. Um, the hacker did a couple weeks ago about the whole like Friends thing, and it had um, Bliss, Nikki Cross. I think it had Bailey and Sasha on there as well. And I think it may have had the Iconics. I'm not entirely sure if it did or not. I know they did the spot where a few weeks ago where there was a little tension between the Iconics backstage. One of them punched the other. I think it was Peyton. I think Billy Kay punched Peyton Royce, if I'm not, or slapped or whatever the hell. Um, but they kind of gone away with that over the past couple weeks. I'm gonna go with the Iconics just because I know Bailey and Sasha just got the belt, but they've been teasing tension between those two. Um, there was talk that maybe they do Bailey versus Sasha at SummerSlam. Now there's talk of okay, maybe they push it back a little bit. But I don't know. Anybody who knows me knows I love Bailey, but Jesus, Homegirl needs to work on her promos. I mean, this is why 4 years ago, they went and they pulled the trigger and took the belt off her and put it on Alexa because Alexa can do a killer promo. I know I'm getting a little off topic in the main gist here, but I'm gonna go with the Iconics just because I think maybe they add more to the tension between Bailey and Sasha. Um, and as much as I love Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross together, that odd couple dynamic worked really well with those two. Unless they have them both be heels and just be like a heel tag team that kind of just terrorizes everybody, you got to turn Bliss heel soon. Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Iconics for this.
All right, yeah, very interesting take, Nico. I didn't think of the Iconics, but with how you put it, I could see that being a potential option. Um, I'm torn now, but I mean, initially I was just gonna flat out say Sasha Bailey because they just won the titles, but I mean, WWE is no stranger to having people win the tag titles one week only to lose it a week later. I mean,
Yeah,
for
I mean, frankly, I don't really care who gets it because I mean, no disrespect, but the tag titles are shit. I mean, just like the male tag team division. Okay, the tag titles are shit. All right, whatever you got to say about Vince McMahon or whatever, tag team wrestling is not a priority right now in WWE. I don't think that's necessarily a good thing. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Mainly because I'm not one who really enjoys tag team wrestling, at least not like how I used to when I was younger. Even though I'm cool with the Young Bucks and everything, but to me, tag team wrestling in itself doesn't get to me mainly because I've always had to do things on my own personally. But like, if you get what I mean, but we'll see what they do.
okay. Yeah, so like I mean you made very good points with the Iconics and there's all that back and forth that Bailey and Sasha are gonna have a match at SummerSlam if they're gonna postpone it to when they can have an audience. I am not really sure how that's gonna go. Right now though, I will just continue being in the mindset that they are gonna have Sasha versus Bailey at SummerSlam. Um, so despite that, even though I could see the Iconics winning, I'm just going to go with Sasha and Bailey to retain for that reason. I do agree that the women's tag team titles, while they could be something special, really aren't for the reasons you have mentioned. But the best way I could put it is, yeah, the tag team I have liked so far is the Kabuki Warriors, but even that wasn't as great of a run as it could have been. But in short, I mean, I think just for right now, Bailey Sasha will just win the tag titles and just appear on SmackDown and Raw here and there, just create dissension, and maybe they'll drop those titles at Extreme Rules or on an episode of Raw or SmackDown prior to SummerSlam. Now, on to the next match is probably a match that should be viewed in a higher regard, but Me personally, I don't think it's all that great right now, but I'll share that more my interpretation of the match. It's going to be for the Universal Championship. It's a handicap match between champion Braun Strowman taking on former tag team champions The Miz and John Morrison. Who would like to share their thoughts on this match first?
I'll go quick.
JP?
I'll go quick. Let me go quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay, look. Braun's keeping the belt. As much as I would love to see Morrison just shock everybody and get the title, that ain't happening. We already lived through a Miz Morrison feud in 2010, 2011. That got over.
Yeah.
That got over super huge, right? Wink, wink. Yeah, Braun keeps the belt. Maybe we get a sighting from Bray towards the end of the match. Maybe after the match. I don't know. But Braun keeps the belt. I don't really care. That will be my snack break match.
AJV, go ahead with your thoughts. I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah, pretty much. This is a throwaway match for Braun, basically. Basically, it's to make Braun look strong, keep his Universal title run going. And, the main reason, Bray Wyatt. We all know, outside of the WWE scripted world, we know Bray's been on his own paternity leave because him and and JoJo had their second baby together too. Shock of everybody because we didn't even know she was pregnant again. So want to say congratulations to them real quick on their second child, and congrats to them on a safe birth. But yeah, Strowman's gonna win this. There's no chance in hell Miz and Morrison get the title. You know that. Come on, this is just too obvious.
I will say this. I am loving Miz and Morrison together. Since they put them back together since Johnny came back. I mean, when they did the rap song, Johnny Drip Drip, I thought Miz and Morrison, hey hey ho ho, I thought that was freaking hilarious. I love them together, but
No, it's just too obvious. I'll go Strowman for the victory. I agree with you possibly on a Bray sighting at the end of the match. I think he may do a Firefly Funhouse scenario. So, I'll be all good with that. And yes, I will be careful on the ice.
No problem. I mean, there's not a whole lot I could add. I've liked the John Morrison and the Miz tag team faction. They're always funny. Even since their WWE ECW days, I like them being a tag team. Both great individuals as well. Miz is a former world champion. I know many people forget that, but it doesn't matter for this match. Braun Strowman's gonna probably squash them 5 minutes or so. I don't know. But yeah, this feud's just stupid. They had that Nickelodeon slime on SmackDown this past Friday. But yeah, in the end, all this is just getting to is just the Fiend coming back. He might make a cameo at the end of the match or sometime on the show, but otherwise, I'm expecting Braun and the Fiend to go at it at Extreme Rules, maybe SummerSlam. But in short, Braun Strowman wins, and that's all there is to say about that. Now,
yeah, Miz and Morrison are gonna get those hands.
But
fail miserably by both of you, but whatever.
Yeah.
Anywho.
So the next match we got going on now is going to be for the Raw Women's Championship. It's going to be Asuka, the champion, taking on one Nia Jax. Who would like to start off this one? All right.
I will gladly start this one off. My hope for this match, besides it being a decent match with Nia and Asuka, which Nia and Asuka have worked in the past and they've done good matches, is I hope that Nia doesn't botch in this match as bad as Dave LaGreca does in his power rankings on Busted Open, but I digress.
Why do you always pick on Dave LaGreca? Jesus, you
easy target. But anyways, I think this match is going to be decent. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's not going to be the greatest match ever, like the main event's going to be, but that's another different ballgame too. But to me, my excitement level, I mean, I'm not that excited for it, to be honest. I mean, I will watch it just to see what happens. But, Asuka's going to retain the belt. Come on. It's a no-brainer and effort. I mean, they're not going to give Nia Jax the belt after all the controversy That's just, but that's not a personal thing for me. It's just, watching from what I've seen, and with the way what happened last night with Asuka and Charlotte, I don't think it's over between them two either. So I think Asuka's going to retain the belt.
Okay, Nico, your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, Asuka versus Hurdy Jax. Great. Awesome. Yeah, Asuka wins.
That's that?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, not a whole lot else I could say. Yeah, Asuka wins. Miss Charlotte Flair did defeat Asuka on Raw the other night, thanks to an assist from Nia. But
Jeez.
yeah.
Okay, real quick, can I add to that since you want to talk about that? I tweeted this as soon as the match was over last night. I even tweeted it last week Monday after their match. I legit could watch Asuka and Charlotte wrestle each other every single night for the rest of my life and not get tired or bored or disinterested. Their chemistry is their chemistry is just super good. Like, I mean, even when they were working the tag match together on Raw last night, they were doing spots where they were trying not to laugh at each other. They're just having way too much fun. When Asuka was doing all her dancing, Charlotte's got her head down, trying not to laugh. When Charlotte's working in the ring with the Iconics or whatever and making fun of Sasha, Asuka's got her head down, trying not to laugh and break kayfabe on camera, which I thought was hilarious. But like, yeah, I could watch those two wrestle forever. But yeah, go ahead, Steve. My bad.
It's all good. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I'm gonna say. I mean, Nia's probably gonna like look tough in the match and just like there might be some moments you think she's gonna win, but in the end, I think Asuka's just gonna pull off the victory, and then Nia's gonna go back to doing whatever, and then the focus is gonna be on Asuka and Charlotte. Maybe through both through two pay-per-views. Maybe it'll be a one and done at Extreme Rules, but I'm fully expecting Asuka just be feuding with Charlotte Flair for the foreseeable future and still remain champion, but that's a whole future topic to discuss. We're on to our next match. I'm not putting this one as the main event because it's not being called the greatest wrestling match ever, which we'll get to a little later.
Oh.
But so we're going to get to the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match between champion Drew McIntyre taking on Bobby Lashley, most likely with MVP in his corner. Who would like to start this one off?
I'll go. I would really be happy if Bobby won. Granted, I know everybody loves Drew backstage, and Drew's actually doing a real good job from a physicality standpoint. Even with his promos, you can feel the anger, or not like the anger, but you can feel him just basically being a badass. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for.
The authenticity of his character.
Yeah, the authenticity or the aggression. You can really see that with Drew right now during his run as champion. So in my mind, he's doing a great job as champion. But I think Bobby getting the belt would just be really cool. He deserves it because, and if Bobby gets the belt, then maybe we get that one-on-one dream match between him and Lesnar. Maybe at SummerSlam. I know they might do Drew versus Bobby versus Lesnar at SummerSlam, and I'm fine with that. But I just want to see Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar one-on-one. Okay, and then if you got MVP with Bobby and you got Paul Heyman with Brock, I mean Jesus, the promos will be immaculate. They'll be amazing, and it would just be some great stuff for television. I fully expect Drew to win the match, but I would like it if Bobby did, or maybe if they did something to where Bobby looks strong, even if he does take the L. Because I mean, if you look at how they did Raw last night, today's Tuesday while we're recording this, Drew ran into the ring and like got Bobby to break the full Nelson lock or stronghold lock, whatever. On who do you have it on? Ivar, I think, from the Viking Raiders. Drew hits Bobby with a Claymore kick. Bobby gets out of the ring, but yeah, Bobby like landed on his feet or something, and it just looked really cool because it looked like how a big mean monster is supposed to look when he gets rocked, but yet he's still on his feet and he's still ready to come back for more. It's like WWE's finally booking Bobby Lashley right. I think it's going to be a big credit to Paul Heyman. The fact that they put MVP with him, they were money together while they were in TNA. For those of you who don't know, I recommend you go look up their stuff on YouTube. They had some good stuff together as manager and wrestler, I guess you can say. So, I mean, they're doing great with Bobby. Drew's doing great. Should be a good one. My heart says Bobby, but brain says Drew.
Go for it, EJB.
All right. Yeah, this is a match. This is probably the match that I'm most excited for, just because the fact that Bobby Lashley not only gets the opportunity that he had been working so hard to get ever since he came back to WWE after the hiatus that he had, competing in Bellator MMA, competing in Impact, and so many other things, but also the fact that Drew, this is going to be a big, great match, only because of the build-up. You got MVP who's playing as Bobby Lashley's mouthpiece, and MVP is one of the best talkers in the game. There's no doubt about that. Nicknamed Half Man, Half Amazing for a reason. The guy's great as a talker, and he's good as a wrestler too. But to me, I think he's the perfect fit with Bobby Lashley because Bobby Lashley's the muscle, and MVP is the mouthpiece, and it works just as well as Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman does it a similar way. To coincide with the match, I think Drew's going to retain, only because, like you said, either Les is going to come back and get his revenge. I know the plan was to have him versus Jinder because of the whole 3MB connection. But of course, Jinder's out with another knee injury. Wish him all the best, and hopefully he comes back soon. But I want to see Brock versus Bobby Lashley too. But I want Lashley to win only because of that dream match. But in reality, Drew McIntyre is going to take him to Claymore Country and win or retain the WWE Championship.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, this too is my most anticipated match of the card. I mean, we'll share our overall thoughts on what we're gonna rate the card, but this is damn near a one match show or a two match show for that matter. But this is the match I'm most looking forward to. The feud has been fire. I've always been a Bobby Lashley fan. I think he's a great build, great. I mean, yeah, just great. I enjoy watching him in the ring. Drew's been doing a very good job as world champion, and MVP being in the mix. He adds the mic skills. He sells Bobby very well. And yeah, I mean, ever since that whole Lashley and Rusev Lana storyline, I was like, okay, I hope something good is coming out of this for having to put up with months of that crap. And it looks like it may be paying off. The question, though, is between now, we have one pay-per-view between Backlash and SummerSlam, where we're going to see at least one other match. There's talks of Brock Lesnar returning in time for SummerSlam. I don't know if he'll be there before SummerSlam or not, so that will heavily weigh into my options. I would be cool with Bobby Lashley winning. But yeah, there's just a lot of questions that lie ahead. But I'm kind of going on. In short, I think that Drew McIntyre will retain. I was going to say that basically Drew could lose it and win it back at a later pay-per-view, but I just don't see that being the route the WWE is going to take. I do hope that we do get Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar in some capacity, be it at Extreme Rules, SummerSlam, whatever you will. I do want to see that as a one-on-one. I think the championship being involved would be great, and I think that Bobby Lashley should get a run at the championship at some point. I'm just up. It'll depend on what happens at the end of this pay-per-view and what match they're planning to book for Extreme Rules. So Right now, I'm just gonna go with the safe bet of Drew McIntyre, but I'd be fine with either guy winning the match. So that's
Do,
my take on that.
do you think Lana gets involved?
That's a good question. I want to say yes. I could actually see it being where maybe even Bobby Lashley is about to win, and then Lana could screw it up for everybody. What do you guys think?
I mean, I don't care either way. I could see it, yeah, but then I could also see if like you said, if they do this to where okay, they do Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre at Extreme Rules, then maybe they hold off there to get her involved, physically speaking, or maybe they get her involved physically to where she cost Bobby in the match at Backlash, and they're like, no, we got to do it again at Extreme Rules. Maybe that's the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, I just kind of wish they would just brush her off as much as they can possibly do so. But I mean, whatever happens, happens with Lana. We'll just
I
have to
mean,
see
I
what
mean,
they.
hey, I mean, we all know she's married to Bruce in real life, but like, do we know what the status on her contract is? Like,
She
when is
signed a
that?
5-year contract like last year, I believe. How
They
how easy
gave
is it to
her a
get out
five.
of it? I don't know.
They gave her a 5-year deal.
Yes, they did.
Like Sasha, I know, and don't get me wrong, I like Lana. Um, she seems like a very nice she seems like a very nice intelligent woman. From what I can tell from like actual interviews, and I'm not talking like WWE scripted ones. But like they gave her a 5-year deal.
Yes, they signed her to 5 years. So whether
Oh,
she's with Lashley or she's going to get a new thing or she goes back to the women's division, they have at least 4 more years to deal with her because I think she signed some point last year. I can't say when, but I just know she is under 5 years.
all right. Never mind then. I thought maybe they do something or they just write her off, send her
Yeah,
on her merry way, but whatever.
yeah, I don't know. To be determined, I guess. Now on to our main event, the match that's being hyped as the greatest wrestling match ever. Better than Melina versus Alicia Fox too, but I digress. It's going to be a rematch between Randy Orton versus Edge in a straight up one-on-one wrestling match. It's the second match that they've had since Edge's return, and we're going to see it happening again at Backlash. Who would like to take their thought, and we'll see if, and also let's see if you think this could be the greatest match ever in wrestling history. All right, EJV, go ahead.
There we go.
The reason why I'm laughing right now is this title, greatest wrestling match ever. 3 words for it. What a joke. And I'm not saying that about the match. I'm saying that about the title. Like, that is so stupid. I don't get that. I just don't get that. It's not going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. I mean, it's not going to be no greater than the only match that Cameron said on Tough Enough was her favorite match. You guys remember that?
Hey,
But
I honestly think Melina
I
versus
threw
Alicia
that
Fox.
in.
I honestly think Melina versus Alicia Fox will be better than this match. Um,
Damn.
yeah, you're nuts. But anyways, uh, we know how good this match is really going to be. It's Randy Orton and Edge. Them two know each other like the back of their hands. We know we're going to get a great match from even with Edge and Randy being older. It's not going to be no athletic classic like they would back in 2004, 2005, but they're still going to put on a hell of a show for us. We know that. It's and this is a tough one. I don't know if this is going to go to a best of 3 in a sense. I don't know if that's going to be entailed into this, but tough. I'm going to go with Randy. The only reason I'm going with Randy is for this specific reason. Is I think they're going to push this, like any other big rivalry, to a best of 3, in a sense. I think there's going to be a third match between them two before this year's out, and that's going to really determine who really is the best out of between Edge and Orton. I feel like Orton's going to win this match, of course, with devious tactics, as the Viper only knows how to do. But overall, I am excited. The title of the match kind of is a little ugh. You know, kind of it to me it's just stupid. It doesn't make that match seem any more exciting than what it already is. So I'm gonna go with Randy to win this match by hook or by crook.
All right, Nico, what's your take on the greatest wrestling match ever?
Oh God. For the record, the greatest wrestling match ever, in my opinion, is Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 12, 60-minute Iron Man match. I know some people don't like that match, because of how it starts off a very slow pace. But to me, because of the story behind everything and how they wrestled and how they really didn't take any breaks for the full 60 minutes plus, that's to me is why Bret vs. Shawn WrestleMania 12 is the greatest wrestling match ever. Uh, Greatest wrestling match ever 1A, in my opinion, is CM Punk versus John Cena Money in the Bank 2011. Crowd, storyline, atmosphere, the whole event. Um, that's why I'll throw that in there as well. You can throw any match that's Ric Flair and Steamboat had uh, back in the day. The Chicago one, I think it was in 1990. I can't remember the name of the Chicago pay-per-view that NWA WCW ran. But when they had Ric Flair versus Steamboat, that was the main event. That's one of the greatest matches ever. But on to Edge versus Randy Orton for Backlash. This is going to sound very weird and might be a little disrespectful. I don't intend to be disrespectful at all. Let me try to reword this so it's not. But thank God there isn't going to be an arena full of wrestling fans seeing this. And the reason why I say that, I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, but the reason why I say thank God there isn't going to be an arena full of wrestling fans is because, yes, we know what we're going to get with Edge and Randy Orton. We're going to get a good match. But if you would have had an arena full of wrestling fans and you dubbed this the greatest wrestling match ever, the slightest slip up, and I guarantee you're going to have 20,000 wrestling fans shitting all over it. Um, I think Edge gets the win. I think he needs it more. I think if he were to lose to Randy, I don't think none of us would want to see a third match between the two, if I'm being completely honest. So I'll give it to Edge. He needs to win more. Winning or losing doesn't affect Randy Orton whatsoever, in my opinion. Um, so I'll just give the advantage to Edge.
Very nice. Yeah, obviously with our jokes we're cracking and then talking about some of the greatest wrestling matches ever. I mean, Shawn Michaels and Undertaker has to be one of my all-time favorites from WrestleMania 25 or 26. I don't know.
25 was
You,
better.
yeah, I think I like the match itself better at 25, but the story into 26 was just incredible. I think that one had the better story personally, but that's all subjective, and we can debate what the greatest wrestling match ever is. Randy Orton, I mean, he's not one of my favorites. He does have put on some great matches. Him, Batista, Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30, that would be somewhere in my tops of all time. Where I that's again subjective, but yeah, this match, no doubt it's going to be good. And yeah, I do agree with you there, Nico. I do agree it's good. There's not a crowd there because if they were calling it the greatest wrestling match ever and there was a crowd there, you know that people would be just booing the shit out of the match like at the end. If it was at the end of the card and they'd be like throwing, I don't know, just it wouldn't
Hey,
end well.
wasn't Backlash was it supposed to be like on the East Coast in like New Jersey or someplace? Originally,
That part I have no idea on.
I
I
think
mean,
it was. But imagine if you throw this event in like a wrestling town. And not saying that Edge and Randy aren't good wrestlers, but imagine if you throw that in a place where you got kind of like the smart crowd.
yeah.
Geez, the slightest slip up, and I guarantee you they're gonna be all over this damn thing.
Oh
But
yeah. Easily, yeah. Like that's one reason why I'm glad that's not happening. I think because they're calling it the greatest wrestling match ever, we're gonna look at this to be a fairly long match. I'm gonna say maybe not an hour, but I think that we could be heading into 30 to 45-minute territory in the match itself. Just because they're trying to sell it as one of the best
It,
ever, and like
it,
especially with an Iron Man match, yeah, that's
it,
considered one of the
if
best.
they go that route, I won't watch live.
If they
I
go
mean,
that route, I'm gonna need a drink.
oh yeah, I just can't see it being a short match just because of this all this hype, and also it's kind of weird. I mean, they had a long match at WrestleMania 36. I enjoyed the match itself. You know, you can debate on the length of it. It was one of the longest WrestleMania matches ever. I agree with EJV. I think we're gonna go into it being a fairly lengthy match, and I think we're gonna get a third match because Extreme Rules tends to have another stipulation match. It's kind of weird it's going in that direction where they're having the singles match be the second match, and then the first match is was pretty much almost an Extreme Rules match in of itself. But I digress. For those reasons, I'm picking Randy Orton to win. I kind of thought that their match at WrestleMania should have been a one and done, but it is what it is. It's not like they have bad matches. I just think that Edge could have some all new opponents since he's just returned to the ring. But again, another discussion for later. Hopefully, SummerSlam, he will have an all new opponent. But now that we've made all our predictions, we're going to pass this over really quick to Wildcard to make his predictions as well as his excitement level for the pay per view. And then we'll come back to ourselves and share our personal excitement level. So, Wildcard, take it over.
Hey guys, Wildcard here. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to make it to the actual recording with the rest of the guys. I'm actually sending my stuff in a little bit late in regards to the next pay-per-view that's coming up, which is Backlash. So before I start, I just want to say that NXT TakeOver in Your House was such a solid show. I really enjoyed it for the retro aspect of it. I really did enjoy the all the matches, of course. Never fails to disappoint. The setting, the entrance setup that they had was like so throwback, and I really did appreciate that too. So shout out to Io Shirai for being the new NXT Women's Champion. But other than that, I thought it was a great show. So I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit more detail later. But I figured that we talk about our next pay-per-view, which is Backlash, coming this Sunday on the WWE Network. Cheap plug right there. Honestly, it's probably not going to be, huge for me to really talk about in full detail. So I might actually zoom through these pretty quick. I have a few opinions on several matches there. But like I said, I'm just going to see if I can blaze through this as much as I can, and we'll just go from there. Okay, let's just get the ball rolling with this, shall we? First match on the list here is the United States Championship match between the champion Apollo Crews and new challenger Andrade Almas. I thought it was really cool to see Apollo Crews finally win his first WWE title after being with the company for so long. It's great to see him as a United States champion. Really do like the fact that they decided to put the belt on him. Now, in terms of who I think was going to actually win the match, I'm going to say Cruz is going to take this one. Reason being, I don't see any reason why they want to put the championship back on Andrade. Because right now, I think they want to give Apollo Crews a shot at a championship run, and this is a perfect opportunity to. And so far, he's been able to deliver in all his matches. So he's always been a great talent to me. Maybe not so great on the mic. I feel like he's improved over the years there too, but I feel like his strengths have always been his in-ring ability, as shown in his matches on Raw, and especially in his match against Andrade when he beat him for the United States Championship. I honestly think that Apollo's going to take this match. He's going to retain the United States Championship. Okay, next match on the list is very interesting one too. Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. I know we talked about this last week on the last episode about Jeff Hardy's storyline with Sheamus and the whole hit and run thing. So I think that was huge in terms of the storyline. I think that's going to play it's going to be a really good setup for this match here. But I'm not too excited about this particular match. I think they're going to definitely continue on with it. I'm not really sure who's going to take it, though, but I'm just going to say Sheamus is going to take this. He's going to use some heelish type tactics to win. That's basically my pick right there. Sheamus is going to take this match. Okay, so women's tag team titles are going to be on the line, just announced on SmackDown, I believe. It's going to be new champions Bayley and Sasha versus the Iconics and Alexa Bliss. Should be a fun match. I think it should be. There's going to be a lot of action for sure. I'm again not really the most exciting pick, but I'm going to say Bayley and Sasha are going to retain those titles. Because I can't really see the Iconics winning. It'd be a little bit of a surprise to me if they do. Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross. I don't see any reason why they're going to win this match. So I feel like that right now with the run that they have with Bayley, being a double champion right now, and with Sasha also being a champion again too, I feel like they're going to go a little maybe deeper with the storyline between these two, because there's always been some rumors going on that like one of them is going to turn on one another, specifically maybe Sasha turning on one another, or Sasha, I should say, turning on Bayley. I feel like that they're going to play off of this a little bit more as them being the women's tag champs for a little while longer, and then they'll eventually have their own separate storyline. So, that's just my take. So I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but for the match itself, I'm just going to say Bayley and Sasha are going to retain the titles. Okay, next match. Universal title on the line here. So it's going to be Braun Strowman and The Miz and John Morrison in a handicap match. I thought that was very interesting that they put this together. I guess the bits that they had on SmackDown, I thought that was pretty amusing. A little, comedy thrown in there too. Again, not really the most predictable here with this. I'm just going to say Braun's going to take this one because, I just don't see Miz and Morrison winning these titles, winning the Universal title, I should say. I feel like Braun right now is having a run with a good run with the title, and I don't see any reason why they would take the belt off of him. Just because I feel like WWE's been so high on him, and I don't see any reason why they would take the belt off of him. Just because I feel like WWE's been so high on him, and I feel like that right now would be just a good opportunity for him to just have that run as Universal Champion. So again, not predictable, not the most exciting pick, but I think Braun Strowman, is going to take this here. So I'm getting a little overzealous here with this. Okay, now this one's going to be interesting, though. The next match, Raw Women's Title, Asuka and Nia Jax. We all know about Nia Jax's safety issues, and I guess we can go about and say in the ring. I feel like that this is almost going to be a way to basically see if Nia can actually do a little bit better on a higher level stage here. Especially with the women's title on the line. I feel like especially with the introduction of Charlotte back on the main roster, I think that they're going to actually do some kind of program with her and Asuka. So, and of course with all the history with Nia Jax injuring everybody, I feel like that that's going to be even more detrimental if they put the women's title on her, as opposed to having Asuka retain. So basically, again, I'm going to say that Asuka is going to retain this title, retain her title, and I feel like that she's going to eventually move to a program with Charlotte. Okay, all right. Next on the list here, WWE Championship on the line here. Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley. This one I have a little bit more thought on, just because I'm a little bit intrigued with this match. I I do like the fact that Lashley is not having Lana in his corner there. But I feel like that with MVP, managing Lashley in this case, I feel like that, it gives Lashley a little bit more credibility. So it makes him a little bit more of a formidable contender, if you will. But on the other side, too, I feel like that, Drew's just been an excellent WWE champion ever since he won the title at WrestleMania. So it'd be very disappointing to see him lose the title, because I've been hearing rumors about Lashley possibly taking the title at some point with all based on just current events that have been happening in the world. So, I feel like that he would be a good WWE champion, but I just don't think that right now is the best time to do it, because, right now I feel like with Drew McIntyre being WWE champion, there's really nothing bad about him as the champion, because his level has really stepped up. He's been a great WWE champion for the most part, and just his his in-ring work has not changed. It has not faltered at all. So again, I'm going to say that Drew McIntyre is going to retain the WWE Championship, but I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they put the title on Lashley. But my pick is going to be McIntyre in this case. Okay, all right. Now for the main event, which is being labeled the greatest wrestling match ever, between Randy Orton and Edge. I don't know about you. I don't get the whole spiel with this whole greatest wrestling match ever. I feel like that's just a gimmick, that's just being displayed, and with the actual match itself. Awesome match in WrestleMania. And the way that they're going to go about this, it's going to be interesting. But it's always a treat to see Edge in the ring. So it was great to see him back doing his thing again. But this could be a potential show stealer if they live up to the hype, though. So, but as for my pick, that's a tough one. I can see this as a toss-up going either way here. But I feel like that with momentum that Edge had, winning his match at the Last Man Standing match, I feel like Randy Orton could potentially pull off some Viper-ish type tactics to take this match. Maybe go a heel approach with this, and maybe steal the match from Edge, and then potentially they may do another match later on at another pay-per-view where they will eventually settle the score here. So, as much as I like Edge, I'm going to have to pick Randy Orton for this, to take this. But it should be a good match either way. This is actually one of the few matches on the card that I'm actually somewhat excited about. As for the overall pay-per-view, I got to be honest, I am not that excited about Backlash, especially coming off the cusp of NXT TakeOver. I feel like that, some of these matches were just kind of just thrown together just like that. But, I mean, the biggest build-up obviously has been, the greatest wrestling match ever with Randy Orton and Edge. In terms of a 1 to 10 level excitement, for me personally, I'm just going to say a 4, just because I'm just not that hyped up about the show. I'll still watch it, but it's not something that I'm going to be like overly excited about, or something I'm going to say, hey, you got to watch this pay-per-view, But for the most part, I feel like it's going to be a 4, potentially a 5, because I feel like there's maybe a couple of matches that could potentially steal the show and, be a little bit more surprising than a lot of people expect there, too. Okay, that's pretty much my predictions there. Like I said, I don't think, it's not the most exciting predictions there. So thanks again for hearing my spiel on all that there. Like the guy said, and later in the episodes, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and our Facebook page too. And if you're a cosplayer, make sure you send us your stuff, and maybe we'll feature you on a future episode there too. So until next time there, this is Wildcard signing out. Hope you guys have a good rest of the night.
Wildcard, thank you for your thoughts. We're going to get to before we close the show, we're going to get to our thoughts on personal excitement level of Backlash. We're going to grade it from a 1 to 10 scale. who would like to start off with their number grade as well as what final thoughts?
I will go because I always hate the number scale thing, because every time the doctor tells me, "Hey, what's your pain level like on a scale of 1 to 10?" Gee, it's enough that I'm complaining about it, you dumbass. But anyhow, I'm gonna go with a 4. I mean, I'm interested to see what they do with Jeff and Sheamus. I'm interested to see what they do with Drew and Bobby. And then I'm interested, I guess, a little bit with Hurdy Jax and Asuka. But other than that, there isn't really anything that makes me want to see this on Sunday. I don't care for Edge versus Randy Orton because it's not going to be the greatest wrestling match ever. That is such an objective statement that I don't know how you could say this is going to be the greatest match ever. The fact that they build it for marketing is very stupid in my opinion. So I'm going to go with a 4.
EJV, what's your number for this one?
I'll give this one I'm going to give this one a 5. I'm kind of in the middle about the score only because there is a match or two that I am interested in, but the rest of the card is a little bit forgettable. Personally, in my opinion, the Edge Randy Orton match, while it will be good, and I think it might even be great because it's Edge and Randy Orton, like I said. Them guys know each other so well. It's not going to be the greatest wrestling match ever as it's been hyped as. And I think it's not going to live up to the expectations that WWE is putting out for it. Personally, also probably I would say, the sleeper match. I think if there's going to be any sleeper matches on this card, I'm going to guess it will be probably Drew versus Bobby. I think will give us a little shock only because Lashley hasn't been getting to really show what he could do as of late, only because he hasn't been booked as strong. Now with this match, I think it's going to shock a lot of people and remind people just how good and how much of a badass Bobby Lashley truly is. That's kind of why I give him a score of 5. There's 1 or 2 matches I'm kind of excited for. The rest of them, I can just literally walk off and not even watch and catch it the next day.
Yeah, pretty much. As far as my number grade, I'm going to go with Nico and rate it at a number of 4. So I am looking forward to Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. I think that could be a match that is the highlight of the night. And as it should be, because it's for the WWE Championship. But it's, that's pretty much the match I'm most looking forward to. I am looking forward to the Edge and Randy Orton rematch. Like I said, I don't know. I thought the WrestleMania 36 should have been one and done, but it is what it is. But the fact that they're even just like hyping it as the greatest wrestling match ever is just beyond ridiculous because it's not going to live up. Even Edge admitted it in an interview recently, just saying that, that's an impossible accomplishment to do, but I'm going to bring my A game this Sunday and go from there. As for the other matches on the card, I nothing really stands out. Nothing that I could see myself talking about like 2 to 3 years, let alone 2 to 3 weeks from now that will stand out. Hopefully something will surprise us. I could maybe see Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus providing a surprisingly decent match, but that's really the only contender I could see really stand out. But my overall excitement level isn't too high, so I'll watch it, but I'm not going to go out of my way to if I have to do something else. So that being said, that is all for the Backlash predictions. Please be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, as well as the Too Sweet Cosplay YouTube channel. And if you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And be sure to share your predictions as well for Backlash.
Yep, absolutely, guys. Absolutely, guys, please share your predictions with us. And don't forget, episode 8 of Too Sweet Converse will be dropping very shortly. So keep an eye on our social media platforms of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for when that episode drops. Link will also be in the description of this episode.
All right, everyone. The Too Sweet, and you have a great day.
Yep.